What is going on, guys? Jason Burke here, Styles Clash for Life, coming at you on YouTube, and today I've got a really important list. 2019 is rapidly coming to an end. I am bringing you guys this video on the 30th. We have one more day till New Year's Eve, 2 more days until a new decade begins. Later on, probably right after the New Year, in the next 2 or 3 days, I'm going to bring you guys my favorite horror movies of the entire decade of the 2010s. I'm going to bring you guys my list. But for today, something a little bit simpler. As 2019 comes to an end, it was a very good year for horror overall, and I wanted to bring you guys my top 10 favorite horror movie films of 2019. Now, again, I'm going to say to begin with, I haven't seen all the films that are out there, so I can't make a comprehensive list of every movie that's existed this year. And again, this is a personalized list of mine. It's just my opinion. Don't slide in my DMs. Don't at me on Twitter. My list is different from your list and your list and your list. Everyone's list is going to be different. There's going to be some that are higher and some that are lower than what you would have on your personal list. But this is just based on my personal taste as a film watcher and reviewer. Now again, I think, much like the last 4 years, like 2016 on, this year was a very good year for horror, both independently and in the major spectrum of things. And I'll be fair to say there's several movies that I have not seen. I wanted to list a couple of them here. Pretty much the major releases since October I have not seen. I didn't get to see Dr. Sleep yet. I love Mike Flanagan. I want to see that so badly. I didn't get to see the Soska Sisters remake of Rabid. I want to see that badly. I didn't get to see Black Christmas yet either. And I also haven't watched a lot of the major independent releases that everyone raves about. When people do these lists, a lot of the reviewers like to include a lot of the independent ones that they've kind of discovered that nobody else has seen. Things that have kind of swept the nation as far as the independent scene, like Tigers Are Not Afraid, Knife Plus Heart, stuff like that. I have not seen a lot of those, to be honest. I don't do well with subtitles. I don't do well with foreign films, to be honest with you. So that kind of takes a lot of those out of my list. But I wanted to bring you guys the top 10 that I did see and love this year. In a very tough year, there was a lot of great ones. So I wanted to include a honorable mention bonus 5. So 15 through 11, these 5 are my honorable mentions before I get to my top 10. Honorable mention, number 15, Daniel Isn't Real. This is the one independent movie that I did get to see this year. I got to review it for pophorror.com. Again, if you guys want to see my film reviews, go to pophorror.com and check out Jason Burke. I've got a whole list of films that I've reviewed this year. I love working there and reviewing these films. Daniel Isn't Real is a twisted thriller, very psychological, character-driven, lots of charisma, based on schizophrenia and stuff like that. It's a mind trip, but it's a coherent story, and it's done very well. So if you guys have not seen Daniel Isn't Real, I think it's probably one of the better independent films that has been made in horror this entire year. Number 14, Happy Death Day to You. This movie was nowhere near as good as its predecessor, the original Happy Death Day, which I had in my top, I think, 6 movies of 2017 or whenever it came out, 2018. But this was a pretty solid sequel. Again, it was more science fiction based, less on the horror. It was more on the comedy side, so it kind of fell off from where the original one was. But still a very good solid sequel. Still built nice characters, still told a good story, and still set up a nice universe for a possible third movie. Number 13, The Banana Splits. Another fun indie film. Really enjoyed this. Old school style slasher. Had some nice nostalgia, had some good kills. It was just a fun, mindless watch that I really enjoyed. Number 12, Mercy Black. I reviewed this one on my channel earlier this year. Really enjoyed this movie. It is the same director as Bloodfest that came out the year before. Just really enjoyed the storytelling, the cinematography, the music, the sound, everything about it pulled together a really dark story and had some nice twists in it. I would love to see more from this director in this universe. Really nice stuff. And number 11, Nightmare Cinema, one of the better recent anthologies that I've seen come out, where 5 different directors have 5 different tales that ties into a nice wrapper revolving around seeing a movie on the big screen. That one is currently, I believe, on Shudder, another good indie release. I think you guys will enjoy that one. So, without further ado, my top 10 for 2019. Again, just my opinion, so don't come at me aggressively. But, number 10, Three from Hell, Rob Zombie's sequel to House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects. Again, it was more of the standard Rob Zombie fare. It was characters that are kind of aggressive, over the top, white trash, angry, stuff like that. Just really enjoy. I mean, it's what you expect from Rob Zombie. It's a lot of gore, it's a lot of swearing, it's a lot of sex, it's a lot of the very in-your-face horror tropes. But Zombie does a nice job in telling this story. It feels like a natural number 3. It feels like it flies with the first 2 very well. They added a new character that fits in well. The gore is nice, and the different styles of shooting incorporate themselves well into this movie. So it was 2 hours that flew by. It was paced well, and I enjoyed the characters. Even though it's kind of a standard zombie film at this point, you know what to expect with him. But I think it's my number 10 favorite this year. So if you like those previous 2 movies I mentioned, you will like this one as well. Number 9, Ma. Ma is very predictable. You can kind of tell what's going to happen right from the trailer. But with that being said, Octavia Spencer is phenomenal, powerfully acted, fun story. Again, it's basic. It kind of goes where you expect it to go, but it's well told, and you care about the characters enough to see what's going to happen, and it plays out very, very nicely. It's a very fun watch. You can just kind of turn your brain off, enjoy this one very quickly. It's paced well, so I actually quite enjoyed this and would like to see more of what this director has to do. Number 8, Pledge. This one flew under the radar. This came out, I think in January of this year. Very underrated. One of the more hidden gems of this year. A bunch of guys are going to pledge for a college fraternity. They want to hook up with girls. They want to have the college lifestyle. And it winds up being a dark, homicidal, dangerous night that takes a lot of weird turns. And it's told very well. Again, another simple story. A bunch of young kids looking to party and things go wrong, but it's done in a way that's pretty creative, and you don't see a lot of these in the modern day. It had kind of an 80s feel to it. It felt like one of those dorm campus slashers of the 80s, so it was a nice reference to that, and had a unique story with a nice little twist that could actually open up to future films if they want to go that route. Number 7, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Man, I really enjoyed this. Speaking of nostalgia and old school, I love the books. The movie adaptation was very nice. There was some CGI that I didn't love in this, but all the practical stuff was really nice. Most of the other effects blended in well. Again, the characters build a nice universe for themselves. All the fears and stuff, all the individual scares. The jump scares were done nice. The creatures, for the most part, looked really good. And the characters had a nice tie-in to each other, and watching one by one what happens to each of them. They had nice little sections in this film. So it was laid out well, and I really do hope they make more of these. Number 6, The Perfection. It's currently on Netflix. It is the best Netflix horror film of this year. It has some Black Swan to it. It is what would happen if Black Swan met the cello playing, violin playing world. If music blended with the Black Swan ballet universe, that's what this would be. It's dark, it's twisted, it has very nice cuts, it's edited well, it's shot beautifully, the characters matter. It is one of the most beautiful pieces that I've seen this year in terms of classic poetic storytelling and the over-the-top way this thing ends. I can't say enough good things about this, and I wish it was even higher than number 6. But again, best Netflix horror film of the year. Please go check it out if you get a chance. I think you'll really appreciate the macabre way this is laid out. Top 5, here we go. Number 5, St. Agatha, another one that is under the radar that came out in February or March of this year. It is a Darren Lynn Bousman directed movie. You guys know Darren from the Saw sequels, Repo, stuff like that. Mother's Day, he's great. This movie is so much fun. It is what happens if a young mother goes off to a convent to reform her life, and you see the twisted workings of the church and the nuns and their practices with children. It is a dark, well shot. Every character has a purpose. I can't say enough good things about this one as well. I really enjoyed this one. I think the review of this is on my channel as well. It is one of Bousman's best works. It is powerfully acted, and it takes you in a lot of places you don't expect to go. So this is another one that I think is a gem that I got to find this year. Number 4, Brightburn, theatrical release from James Gunn. He wanted to make a horror Marvel, and this is what would happen if Superman was a horror character. This is a superhero horror film that brings back the fear of children horror and what happens when kids go bad. Really nice stuff. Good effects when they're done practically. Just nice tension building the entire time. Good score. The main character is really creepy. The backstory is well laid out for the characters. I just really enjoyed this one as one of the most creative genre-blending horror films in a long time. And again, I know this one didn't make a ton of money, but it's really underrated, and I think you guys should go out of your way to watch it and support what James Gunn is trying to do, and I hope there is a horror Marvel style universe. Number 3, top 3 of the year. Here's where it gets very commercial. You guys are seeing a lot of commercial films here. Pet Sematari's remake. I know this one was divisive. Some loved it, some didn't. I really enjoyed this. I came in very skeptical because I love the original Pet Sematary as an all-time favorite Stephen King adaptation. This one was also really good. They did a nice twist on it where they changed a couple character things around. But all the characters matter in this thing. They laid out the universe beautifully. It is shot super well. They kept it close enough to the source material to make it feel authentic, but they changed up some of the nice music. The characters kind of all were a little more likable than they were in the first one, some of them. Again, the changes that were made were done for a good reason, and it's another one that built tension pretty nicely. So, Pet Sematari's remake is the best remake of the year, in my opinion, and one worth checking out. Number 2, Ready or Not. In my opinion, it's hard to make a good horror comedy and blend it nicely. This is the best horror comedy, maybe of the entire decade. What a great movie. That would be number 1 in many other years. Powerfully acted by Samara Weaving. What happens when a girl marries into a new family who's playing a game that might turn out to be a little more dark and deadly than you expect? Nice layers for the characters, some that you think are good or bad, some that you think are bad or good. They've all got reasons, they've all got backstories as children. Every character, there's characters that are for comedy reasons, characters that are serious. They do a nice job mixing in the comedy and the serious. The gore is good, the lore is good. This one is everything. This one is a great movie and must see. The only one that's ahead of it, number 1, Jordan Peele's Us. For the second time that Jordan Peele's made a horror movie, it is one of the best movies of the year he's made it in. I love this movie. It feels super old school. It has an alien invasion, body snatchers kind of feel to it. There's a home invasion feel to it. Everything is confined. The sets are well built. The sets are tense. The sound design is tense. All the characters mean something. He does some well-placed comedy. The twist in the backstory is a little predictable, but it's laid out well. It's edited well. Jordan Peele is just really good at doing social commentaries and breaking social conventions and turning those things on its head. I love the statements that he makes in his movies. I love the layers in his characters and the warmth of his characters. And I love the way he makes things feel confined and dangerous when you're squirming in your seat. Jordan Peele's Us is my favorite movie of 2019. What did you guys think? What is your top 10 list? Please tell me in the comments down below. Did I rank one too high or too low? Did I miss one out? Tell me respectfully in the comments down below. I would love to hear what your lists are and what you think I might have missed. And come back in a few days because I'll be doing this list again for the top 10 of the entire decade. Horror fans, it's been a good year. Thank you for all your support and watching my reviews. Check out my YouTube channel and pophorror.com for more film reviews, and I'll see you guys soon.